And we have a very interesting project which is very thrilling, not only because of what it means, but also because Cibervoluntarios is a part of it. TrustAware, like Natalia said, has as a main goal to return trust to the citizens through AI and data science. We're going to start with Tim. Tim is leading the ethical side. Can you please tell us what TrustAware is and why you claim that is an ethical tool to return trust to the citizens?
Sorry, I'm Dutch. I need this to get a translation. Thank you, thank you for being here. So first of all, the first part of your question, like what is TrustAware? So TrustAware is a European Commission-funded project. It started in 2021 and it ends in 2024. It's got 7 partners. I'm from Trilateral Research. We're a research company that does research in complex social issues, and Jesús is from Tree Technology. So we represent 2 of the partners. And what you also said in your introduction, our main goal is to create a framework or an approach to address to address privacy and security threats online, and to inspire trust to citizens. And on the trust bit, I want to discuss a little bit further, because my background is a philosopher, so I've got a thing or two to say about trust. But let's focus first on TrustAware. So TrustAware, we're trying to do an encompassing approach towards security and privacy. So we focus, for example, on internet users and users of digital technology, and we try to give them user-friendly tools. So we involve them into a code design process, and we allow them to check if, for example, something has, if a file or a website has security issues. We also try to help developers, so try to create a more trustworthy environment. So we help designers by creating a privacy and security by design approach. We try to create accessible certification and accessible standards, so it's easier for developers. We try to create software to make technology that is safe to be used. And we also focus on public organizations. So, for example, DPAs, data protection authorities and agencies, and CERTs, cybersecurity emergency response teams. So so we use the data that we create within the project to see if you can to create some insights and some trends, and then feed that back, so we can show where security and privacy concerns are. So we've got, for example, functionality that looks at apps and that scans apps for privacy issues. So to go into the trust part of it, so trust is important. So we need trust. So for example, the cup of water that I just got, I assume, I trust that this cup of water is safe, that it is water, that it's not tampered with. So we need trust with whatever we do. If you get into a plane, you need to trust that the plane is safe. So trust is necessary, but trust also has an element of danger, because the thing I trust doesn't necessarily always behave as I expect it to do. So we have to be careful if we try to increase trust, that we increase trust into something that is indeed trustworthy, that's worthy of our trust. So TrustAware tries to accomplish that in 3 ways, I think. And if we look at trust, for example, so if we look at trust, so it's trying to increase trust, or it tries to reduce our reliance on trust through transparency. So it gives people instruments to check, for example, if a website is safe or unsafe. So people don't necessarily need to trust the software, but they can first check if it's safe or secure. Another way is that we're trying to make the digital environment more trustworthy. And that is through giving developers those instruments to create products that are safe and secure to use. And the final part, how we try to inspire trust, is that a lack of trust is also a problem. If I don't trust the digital space, and we've seen that within the pilots and from cyber volunteers, for example, that some older people fail to trust the online space. And although there are dangers around, we all kind of navigate the online space in some way.
Yeah.
We all are able to use it to some extent. And if you lack that trust, if you see the online space only as danger, you get cut off something that is vital or that is increasingly important to function in everyday life. So we try to create, for example, education or educational materials that can help them.
Great. Voy a preguntarle en inglés por deferencia a ti. Avisa a los intérpretes.
I'm going to ask him in English, just to let the interpreters know.
Important aspects, trust, education, everything. What ethical aspects from the user point of view are taken into account in the TrustAware? And what do you think, in your opinion, are the challenges that lay ahead in this part, in the ethical part?
Yeah. Well, one part I really like about TrustAware is that TrustAware doesn't consider privacy and security online as a purely technological issue. It considers the socio-economic elements, it considers the legal elements, it looks at the ethics from the start, and it looks at the ethics in a quite holistic way. So it looks at the ethics from the research project, so that means that we try to make sure that the research and the research activities that we conduct are safe to the participants, that we treat them well, so we developed a code of conduct. We have this co-design process where we have a specific focus on vulnerable populations, such as older people, but also minors, people with a cognitive learning restrictions, migrants. So those are people that need to be taken care of, and where we need to ensure that they are being treated well. So that is one part within TrustAware. And the other part is that from the start of the project, we've conducted the method of an ethical impact assessment. So an ethical impact assessment is a systematic approach to identify and address ethical issues with a technology or a tool.
So you already tested the tool, no, with citizens, with end users.
Yeah. So so an ethical impact assessment is more of an ongoing process. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, when we just start, like the technologies aren't very clear, partners have an idea of what they want to do, but they don't necessarily are sure what they're doing yet. So Jesus will explain a little bit more about the technologies itself, but one of the technologies that we, for example, have is an ad analyzing tool, which they want to identify harmful content towards children, but also potential misinformation that was propagated on social media, in particular Facebook and YouTube. And then there were questions around, should we automatically block it? Should we give people the choice to block it? Where do we put the responsibility? And then you get into issues like, is this for the best of a person, or are you starting to censor? To censor, and how can you make that transparent? On what basis are you going to make those choices? So that's early on in the project. You look at more of the wider issues. Another issue is, for example, privacy. Like a tool that looks at people's online behavior needs a lot of information about people's behavior, which poses a privacy threat in and of itself, and you don't want to make the situation worse. Our tools also need to be trustworthy. And then you keep iterating it. So in the beginning, you have this broad notion, and then the partners start creating the technology, and the technology becomes a little bit clearer, and they start developing the dashboards and the tools. And then you can pilot it, and then it's being used by vulnerable populations. And then we include experts, and then we ask them, like, these are the issues that we've identified before. Do you think we've captured all the relevant ethical issues? And those experts could be ethicists, but also representatives of the vulnerable groups and technical experts. And then you create more specific recommendations, requirements for the technology.
That sounds fantastic. And from a technical point of view, I want to listen from you, Jesus. What is the current state of the dashboard? Have you implemented everything that is being assessed during the impact assessment? And what is that lay ahead? How is the project going and the tool?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. The TrustAware dashboard is a set of tools that we have developed with the intention to help the users understand security threats, privacy risks, how their data are used when they use software, and to help them make informed decisions about the software they use. It is modular. It is composed of several modules, and it is now in a mature state, and it is usable, although we are making still some changes until the end of the development part of the project. But it is usable now. The different modules that compose the dashboard are the simple security tool that checks websites and files for threats.
We have a video playing that is showing what Jesus is explaining. How does
exactly.
the TrustAware dashboard analyzes different privacy policies?
Yes, exactly. That's the part about privacy in which I'm going to maybe extend the most, because I want to use it as an example to state how TrustAware helps to build digital sovereignty. The privacy module allows the user to ask for an analysis or for information about a concrete app. And first of all, what you find when you ask for this is a summary of the functionality of the app, of all the functionality of the app, not just the highlights or what it is intended to do in the first place, but also some secondary uses, etc. And from this functionality, it also infers the permissions that it would need to function. Permissions is what how the system calls the allowances that the user has to grant to activate some parts of your hardware or the software in your device. For example, if you want to activate, if the software needs to activate the camera or to access your list of contacts. So it correlates the functionalities with the permissions required, so that to do this, it would need to activate the camera, maybe. But if you don't see anything there and then the app is requesting you an extra permission, it might be an indicator of an obscure behavior of the app.
So it allows citizens to make informed decisions,
Exactly.
No?
Exactly, yes. And then there is the privacy policy topic. You know, privacy policies are very important documents, because there is where the developers state which information they are collecting from the users and how they are using it. So if they are storing your phone number, for example, it's going to be there. If they are gathering demographic information about the user, it's also going to be there. If they are going to sell all this information to advertisement companies, it's going to be there as well. But there is a problem. The privacy policies are unreadable. There is a study that says that if an average user were to read all the privacy policies of the software services used in a year, it would take several months of full-time work. So what we propose in the dashboard is a summary of the privacy policy, but written in a normal language, not the usual legal jargon that only specialists understand.
Edible.
And the user can also search. So if you're concerned with your phone number, for example, you can click there on phone number, and all the fragments of the privacy policy that are concerned with the phone number are going to appear for you to read more calmly. To all this, the dashboard also includes the ad analysis part that Tim mentioned before, and also some informative and educational resources, videos, articles, and so on, so that the user can improve in the knowledge about all of this.
And trust a bit more, no?
Exactly, and we believe that builds digital sovereignty as well.
Have you tried this only with private software or also with open software? Have you tried it with different?
Well, it is open, so it currently only works with Android apps. We would like to extend it to other kinds of software, such as websites, Apple, so iOS apps, video games, desktop software, etc., etc. For the moment, it only works with Android apps, and it works it's agnostic to whether the app is closed source or open source. It's concerned only with the data that is collected and what's going to be of your data when you lose control of it and you give it to the people that are receiving it.
Really interesting. I don't think we have much time to talk about all of it, but I want to leave the public. If you have any questions among the public over there.
You partially answered my question because you told us that you want to expand to websites, but I am the creator of NoScript, which is meant to decide what programs runs on the web based on trust. So it would be a nice complement to my software having an API to have an overall score of trustworthiness for websites, to help users decide whether to allow or deny execution of scripts and other active contents on their website. So consider it, please.
We will.
Anyone else? Another question? No, I would like you to, this is a question for both of you or anyone who wants to answer. What is the future of aWare once the project has ended? And now what's left from the project in 2025?
We finish in April or May 2024.
2024. So why are you thinking ahead? What do you think is the future of aWare? What do you see the applications?
Well, I can start and then you may add if you wish. From a more technical perspective, apart from extending the scope of the apps that we can analyze and all that, the mission of aWare is to improve the trust of the users based on the security and privacy. So, and there is always going to be new technologies and new uses of technology that are going to pose new privacy concerns. And I will give you an example. Maybe there are writers and creators who had blogs and who did art and published it in the internet in the latest years, that now have found out that their work has been used to train AI systems, and probably that's something that they didn't want to do. That they didn't want their creations to be part of that. And I think those kinds of concerns should also be dealt by aWare and find a way. Also, as we in our project, we also intend to provide tools for regulators, for CERTs, for data protection authorities, data protection officers, to help build solutions for these concerns.
Great. Tim, anything to add?
I think it was a good answer, but I think it will be a continuous, that there are still efforts needed to make this tool inclusive to everyone, because it still requires going to a dashboard. I think the lower we can put that threshold for people to access information about security and privacy, the better it is. So I think that would be a good future for aWare, to see how we can make it as accessible as possible, although we do already a lot of effort around that direction.
That's great, and here we are planting the seed for this. And one last question also for both of you. Going with the theme of the event, can you summarize in a short sentence what is for you citizen digital sovereignty?
Well, for me, For me, it is maybe not so short a sentence, but it is that when...
Short sentence,
when
because Angel says
it's,
to stop.
it's knowing, the user knowing what he or she is doing when he or she is using a service, and no way that some rights can be denied just because of maybe not knowing or what can be done, or being in an inferior position considering what can be done with your data, what can be done with your information.
Tim?
I might bring it a little bit more abstract, but I like
like a philosopher would do.
like what we do in every day. Like when we get up, we want to go out, we want to explore the world, we go to the shop, and we know that there are dangers around, that a car can hit you, but we feel safe. We are happy to do that mostly in these parts of the world, and I want people to experience that.
Sounds great. Well, thanks both of you for participating in Podera, and I really urge the public or the audience to go into trustaware.eu, test the dashboard, and then make questions and continue being inspired.